If you've watched some of my videos in the past, then at this point it should be obvious that I love the 3DS quite a bit. So much in fact, they don't even want to look at the thing. Yeah, if there's one thing I love more than the 3DS, it's having all of my games on just the one system. So, why don't I combine the two? Yes, I want to see more 3DS games that are already out and already capable of being played by me specifically on the Switch. Why am I starting to think this? Well, I've been rewatching the Luigi's Mansion 2 Switch trailer, alright? I love Luigi that much, I'm gonna rewatch this thing over and over again. And I've noticed, just like how I noticed right as the thing was announced, it doesn't exactly look the best, but that's because it seems to literally just be, we took the game, we freshened up some of the textures, here you go. And I'm fine enough with that, because I love me some Luigi's Mansion 2, but god do I hate the tiny little 3DS, and I'm even more fine with the idea that Nintendo are happy enough to do this. They're not building the game up from ground zero, trying to recreate it for the Switch. No, they're just going, here you are, we made it so the bottom of the screen, little map thing, it is now accessible by pressing this minus button. I really, really like that. Why? Because it means we might be able to get other 3DS games lazily slapped onto the Switch. So yes, here are a bunch of 3DS games I'd like to see put onto Nintendo Switch with minimal changes. I mean, I'd prefer for all of these to get like full-on remakes with beautiful new graphics and whatnot, but we probably won't be getting that, so here's the games anyway. So, starting off with one of my favorite games on the system, Luigi's Mansion 2. That one was already announced. Fine, I guess we'll pick the next best thing. The Luigi's Mansion 1 remake. Look man, I want all 3 Luigi's Mansion games on the Switch. This one added nifty things like platinum paintings and replayable bosses and all that nonsense, as well as like this random statue thing where you do these little tasks. So yeah, I would like to see this. Now, here comes the fun part of discussing every single one of these. The DS in 3DS and also in DS stands for dual screen because the 3DS and the DS have 2 of them. What is them? Screens. So after bringing up a game and why I want it on there, I'm going to have to discuss exactly what issues come from the second screen, which is also a touch screen, which brings up even more problems, but let's just talk about it. The second screen of the Luigi's Mansion 1 remake is used for a map, which is very easy to toggle to a button or to shrink down to minimap. Plus, the original game was just on the one screen, so the Luigi's Mansion 1 remake could be a very, very easy port to the Switch. Bring it on me, give me all 3 games, plus give me like an emulated version of Luigi's Mansion 1, I like that as well. As of now, every single 2D Metroid is available on the Nintendo Switch, except for the remakes. Yes, the good old beautiful Metroid Zero Mission, and of course, the one we'll be discussing here, Samus Returns on the 3DS, aren't on the system yet. Now, more than likely, we will be seeing Metroid Zero Mission thrust onto the GBA NSO app soon enough, but we don't exactly have a 3DS NSO app, so sadly, Samus Returns will have to come back in the form of a port, remake, remaster. I don't know what to call these things, shut up. Samus Returns, a game that I only just completed this year, was really, really enjoyable. While a bit repetitive with the frequent fights against the Metroids and not exactly perfect in many other ways, I still think that it deserves to be put onto the Nintendo Switch so a lot more people can experience it. See, the issue with releasing a game so late into 3DS's life is that not that many people get to experience it, which is what happened to Samus Returns, sadly, so it really, really does deserve a second chance. While a bit of a step back from Metroid Dread, this makes sense seeing as it was the team's first time making a 2D Metroid game, while they'd worked on Castlevanias beforehand. Yeah, no, of course it's going to be a wee bit of an adjustment period for them to learn everything. Plus, this is the game that properly sets up the evil version of the bird dudes that show up in Dread, so yeah, no, it definitely needs to come over for at least that. Now, what was the second screen used for? Quite a bit actually, both the map and switching between beams, and tapping it also made you immediately go into the ball form, instead of you having to press down twice. The Switch has an additional 2 buttons of the controller that can be used to cycle between these, plus it has a second stick which works a lot better than the 3DS nipples, so there are a lot of choices here for how they can translate the controls of that game over without having a second screen to rely on. The only thing that will be annoying is not being able to place the pins down as easily. More than likely they'll have a system similar to Hollow Knight where you just have a little cursor they can move around the screen, press A, there you go. There's your little pin. Super Mario 3D Land. As of now, this and Galaxy 2 are missing from the Nintendo Switch, which is a shame as both of these games are pretty darn good. This one was the first 3D Mario to truly adapt the 2D style of gameplay to the 3rd dimension. While Galaxy 1 and 2 did feature much more linear levels compared to the sandbox style of 64 and the Forbidden One, they still have a lot more in common with those two than, say, Super Mario Bros. 3. 3D Land, meanwhile, truly does feel like somebody added a Z-axis to a scrapped Super Mario Bros. 5. Yes, I know, both New Super Mario Bros. DS and Mario Bros. Wonder both kind of count as that. Shut up. What was the second screen used for? Information that could very easily be on the top screen, or that doesn't really need to be there at all, as well as item holding and light camera control. Now, the light camera control can be just added to the right stick, and the item holding can easily be slapped onto a button. We've seen this in the past, it can be done again. Oh god, right, I forgot. This game actually uses the 3D somewhat. Yeah, there's like these 3D room things where it's like, oh, this is what the room looks like, but then Mario goes behind a block, it's like, oh, we tricked you! And then you turn on the 3D with a slide, and then it's like, oh, right, these blocks are in front of these ones. Now, thankfully, Nintendo already built a workaround for this. In these very same rooms are these little things you stand on, which then show the room from a different camera angle. So from there, while it's harder to traverse than if you just cranked up the 3D slider, you can just finish the whole puzzle without the use of it. So all Nintendo really needs to do is just keep these things in, and hey presto, you don't need the 3D slider for the Switch. Hey Pikmin! Literally impossible. Second screen used for everything. Other than moving Olimar himself, all you do in this game is on the bottom screen. From throwing and aiming Pikmin, to calling them, to selecting the level, to using your jetpack, so much of this game uses the touchscreen to the point where it would be ridiculous to port it. But all 4 main Pikmin games are available on the Switch. It would be pretty nifty to have this game too. I mean, it would 100% flop, but still, put it on there, why not? Oh, yeah, right, the fact that it would flop. Fair enough. The 3DS remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are pretty much the definitive way to play these titles. While yes, Majora's Mask 3D has all the issues that Neril guy brought up, its gyro aim is godly. Same with Ocarina of Time, however, that one was less ruined in the remake. While I prefer the two get another remake, I'll more than happily accept a port of these. The second screen is used for a map, shocker, some information, and 6 additional buttons. 6? Yes. 2 additional item slots, a button for the ocarina, and 3 tabs at the bottom, these being gear, items, and the full version of the map. How do we solve this issue? Well, we do what Nintendo didn't. Use the bloody D-pad. Yes, the D-pad sits entirely unused, and when you mix that in with the additional stick and 2 triggers on the average Switch controller, there are more than enough options to translate these onto the Nintendo Switch. You know what, let's talk about another Legend of Zelda game, because apparently those dirty Zelda fans don't have nearly enough love for the Switch. Link Between Worlds. I'm a big fan of 2D Zelda. Sure, I've only played 3 of them, but I really like those 3. And it's because of that I want to see this title on the Switch. It's a really fun one, and pretty easy to port as well. With how massive of a game Tears of the Kingdom was, Nintendo was going to want to rein back the expectations of the average Zelda fan, and I think releasing one of the 2D titles would certainly help with that. The second screen is used for a map, and it's used to make item switching easier. Anything and everything here can easily be put onto a controller's buttons, so yeah. They have no excuse, other than thinking that it might not sell well. Nintendo, hurry up, put this bloody game on Switch. Next up, let's talk about the Pokemon titles. Why? Well, you see, the Pokemon games currently on Switch already look like 3DS games, so they might as well port the 3DS Pokemons on there as well. Though at the same time, it's arguable they've already ported too many 3DS games because of that. And finally, Paper Mario Sticker Star. Look man, I just want to see how Chaka Conroy would react to it being announced. Wait, Paper Mario Sticker Star is the 4th game in a series that was an RPG for 2 games. A Mario RPG series. God, why does that sound so familiar, especially around the 3DS? Oh yeah, the Mario and Luigi games. That discussion, however, is for another video. Look, I have a lot of things to say about the Mario and Luigi series, and I have a lot of things to say about the fact that, you know, the stars could be aligning for a new one, or a port, or god, anything. So, yeah. I'm just gonna end the video here. So with all that said, wait, how can I forget the best 3DS game? Space Raiders! Like the video if you enjoyed it, or if you want to come back to it. Don't know why I'd want to come back to it, other than to congratulate me for being right, or tell me to die for being wrong. Both of which can be done thanks to the comments, which, leave one down below now for the heck of it. You know, mention any 3DS games you'd like to see ported. I haven't played all of them, so, you know, there's bound to be a couple that I missed. Maybe. Nah, I doubt it. And most importantly of all, if you've watched a couple of my videos at this point, or you just really, really like this one, please do consider subscribing. I make content often enough, not really, but hey, it's always passable whenever it shows up. Alright, that's everything. Bye bye.